In the last 50 years, changes in farming practices have altered the rural landscape dramatically. In Iowa, it's estimated that only 60,000 barns remain of a legion that once numbered more than 200,000. And the Hawkeye State loses 1,000 more barns every year.
Can you imagine Iowa without barns, without corn cribs, without silos? And all of these new metal buildings are going up everywhere. We're just going to look like an industrial park. But like much of the U.S. is starting to look. And if we can save these, it's going to be special. You go across.
Jacqueline Schmiel is the president of the Iowa Barn Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the preservation of Iowa's rural buildings. Schmiel says the barns are symbols of Iowa's early agricultural heritage and a way of life that is disappearing. The foundation provides matching grants to farm families for barn restoration. In exchange for the grant, the owners sign an easement obligating all future owners to keep the barns in good repair. Shirley and Larry Ellis have lived on their farm near Lytton, Iowa for more than 3 decades. Their classic structure is a local landmark known as the Big Red Barn.
All right, I'm gonna go up in the haymow.
Built in 1918, the barn is 40 feet tall to the eaves and features 3 by 12-inch A-frame timbers. Over the years, the Ellises have worked on nearly every structural component of the barn, from the ground up. The work has included replacing and moving siding, doors, windows, and the entire roof. Originally built for dairy, the Big Red Barn benefited from an Iowa Barn Foundation grant. And while the Ellis barn no longer is used to dairy, it continues to be a safe haven for traditional farm animals, such as the chickens and the few head of cattle the Ellises own. The main residents of the barn, however, are Red Rock Arabian horses.
No, I'm pretty proud of it. I really am. It was just a neat project all together. And you know, this winter when the animals are in there and you can go to bed at night and know that they're housed nicely, and that gives you peace of mind too. So it was worth it. Yes, it was worth it. Yep, I'm pretty proud of it. I'm as proud as the guy that built it. So.
In 2001, the Ellis Barn was on the first all-state barn tour held by the Iowa Barn Foundation. Held annually, the tour is a weekend-long open house of barns that have received matching grants from the foundation. The 2001 event was the first of its kind in the nation and drew thousands of barn enthusiasts from 20 different states.
As we get older, we get more of an interest in saving some of this history for future generations, and I think that's what's happened here. And we just all have to age before we realize that maybe there's a reason why we should do this.
Dennis Heflin farms near Harlan, Iowa, and the barn on his family's farm has been a stop on 8 of the Iowa Barn Foundation's all-state barn tours. Built in 1901, the classic structure has served 4 generations of Heflins.
You know, we've seen life come to it, we've seen death happen in it, and just about anything and everything else in between.
With its 4-gabled roofline, the Heflin barn is distinctive. At one time, there were several similar barns in Shelby County. But today, only the Heflin barn remains.
Well, to me, if we didn't see barns as part of the landscape, it would signify that, you know, we're not maintaining our heritage, we're not maintaining the history that was there, and that we're just letting the old go away and just let them be no more.
The reasons people cite for restoring their barns are as diverse as the structures themselves. Family heritage was the primary motivation for Charles Anstey to renovate his barn near Messina.
I did it kind of to remember of my parents and grandfather. He built a barn and for my folks as a wedding present when they were the following year after they were married. The house and the barn both at the same time.
For others, like barn enthusiast Wendy Elliott, there is a spirituality in barns. With their cupolas that reach for the sky, Elliot sees the iconic buildings as cathedrals of the cornfields.
I've always liked going in barns ever since I was a girl because I think you can almost feel the spirit of all the animals that have been in the barn. So I think it's definitely a sanctuary, and I think it also represents the heritage of the entire state.
Wendy Elliott and Joe Rood were Midwesterners living in New York City who decided to return to Iowa when their children were born. The barn on their property they purchased was in such disrepair that it took 2 different house movers and a team of Amish builders to straighten the building. Lee Gelder helped repair the roof.
I think it's fairly important that people do this. I know my children really don't have any idea what the purpose of a barn is. They just look at it as a big old building that is 90% of them are empty. If somebody doesn't do something, children are not going to know what a barn was even used for in another 20 years.
For Market to Market, I'm Andrew Bott.